Matt performed that piece as part of our 10th anniversary commemoration of the Pulse nightclub massacre on June 12th. It was part of a set that he offered in the middle of a day that was very much a vigil, remembering all that we have lost on this way to freedom and pride. And I asked him to play it for us today, and he graciously agreed. Thank you, Matt. We are here. Let's take a moment for love. I have a dear one who can recite the entirety of Steel Magnolias on demand, and frequently does. We all have these movies that we know by heart, right? Steel Magnolias isn't mine particularly, but it isn't also not mine particularly. My Steel Magnolias is rather like my French. It's enough to get by. I can generally find in markets or in bistros, but to quote David Sedaris, me talk pretty one day. Anyway, in Steel Magnolias, there's a scene where Ouisa Boudreau is asked why she grows tomatoes. This is her reply. Because I am an old Southern woman and we are supposed to wear funny-looking hats and ugly clothes and grow vegetables in the dirt. Do not ask me these questions. I don't know why. I don't make the rules. This is rather how I feel about these earrings that I'm wearing today. They cost about $12 and came from a museum gift shop, as if the curatorial department had opinions about the generally monochromatic state of my wardrobe. Trust me, I was as surprised as you are. Now, for those of you who are lucky enough to be seated far enough away to not know what I'm talking about yet, these festive adornments contain every color of the rainbow, and I thought they might imply a certain je ne sais pas about my gaiety or lack thereof these days. Are they working? I am an old gay man on Pride Sunday, and I wear all the colors of the rainbow. I do not make the rules, I just do what I'm told. Pride. This month-long celebration of LGBTQ plus personhood with festivals all over the world, all over the country, and indeed all over our city. And today is the big huzzah. 2 marches, both alike in, well, maybe not quite dignity, but alike, downtown, following different routes and different political aims. The first, the larger, the more historic, the more corporate, the more famous, the Heritage of Pride March, which is led by the famous Dykes on Bikes, and it heads right down Fifth Avenue with floats and dancers and music and a gay old time. The second march is a newer iteration, a newer arrival on the scene. It's called the Queer Liberation March, and this is a march against a march that feels the original march has become too corporate, too white, too focused on capitalism rather than on individual expression of self and diversity. And so they too march. 2 marches, both about gay rights, one a little gayer than the other. Which one am I going to, you may ask? The one with the dog park on the far west side of the island, far away from all the actual parade routes. Pride Sunday. It's complicated. Pride. It's complicated. These are not easy dynamics, nor are they straightforward emotions. They ebb and they flow. Pride, like joy or love. Pride, like peace and forgiveness. These are emotions that come through work and that require cultivation. Sure, you might burst with pride from time to time, or maybe you'll fall madly in love once or twice in your lifetime. And sure, staring at a placid lake on a foggy morning can bring the deepest sense of peace and, Well, forgiveness comes in waves, doesn't it? Rather like grief. It washes upon the shore and then goes away mad as hell and then comes right back. One day dancing down Fifth Avenue in short shorts and glitter in your hair does not create a sense of pride, but it also doesn't not create a sense of pride. Pride is both a celebration and is deep-seated. It is fully integrated. It is a sense of self, of who we are and who God created us to be. This pride is not pride in ourselves, but in who God made us to be. As God is always naming creation good, God must be as proud as a theater mom every time we get out of our own way and celebrate the pride that God has in each of us. And our gospel today uses the word welcome no less than 6 times and is a syllogism for welcoming people, which means welcoming Jesus, which means welcoming the one who sent him. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And one of the things that I love about how Jesus connects the love and connection in this passage is that he doesn't begin with our connection to God, and you'd think that it might be. So often we think of our discipleship as ebbing from our connection to God. Because we love God, we do all these other good things. Not here. Jesus says, if you welcome another, you'll welcome me. And if you welcome me, you'll welcome the one who sent me. He starts at the human level about what we can do. He starts by talking about what we're all doing when we're all together, when it's just us. When a stranger knocks on the door or a person sitting on the sidewalk asks for some change. Jesus is talking about what to do with Haitian and Syrian immigrants, about people seeking welcome instead of persecution. Jesus is talking about our Supreme Court, the laws of this land, about a president. Jesus is talking about legislation that he never knew was going to happen, but he is talking about it. He is talking about the simple human act of when you welcome someone, you welcome me. And if you welcome me, then you welcome God. It's that simple. If you welcome me, you welcome Jesus. And if you welcome Jesus, then the whole army of the heavenly hosts come crashing into the party. The welcome begins with us, and welcome has a great deal to do with pride. Think of the work you do when preparing for out-of-town guests to come and stay in your apartment. Think of how you want everything just so as a source of pride. Pride in your home, pride in your accomplishments, pride in the meals that you're cooking and the plans that you're making. You're so proud, you want to show off your best. You want your friends and loved ones to see and know a sense of hospitality. You want them to know that they are welcome. And when you welcome your guests through your sense of pride in who you are, Jesus comes in right behind them. And just as Jesus strolls in, so too does God. And there is pride in our welcome. And welcome is something that we can take pride in. And here at West End, we say that all are welcome. We say this every Sunday. We say, whatever you doubt or believe, wherever you are on life's journey, you are welcome here. And we're pretty proud of that welcome. I'm pretty proud of that welcome. I'm pretty proud that we really mean it. And I regularly hear this from visitors and people who come to see us. You really mean it, they say. And we say, yeah, we try. So whether you're feeling proud or joyous or loving or hopeful or kind, that's up to you. I do not make the rules for how you feel. What I can do is to simply say, welcome. 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 We are here. And for now, that's enough. Welcome begets welcome. And before you know it, there's a whole party, a whole march, 2 whole marches of people trying to welcome each other into the fullness of who God created them to be, and to the fullness of life, and as Jesus says, life abundant. Pride Sunday is a Sunday about life and life abundant. This is a Sunday nearing the end of what we call Liberation Season, where our city turns out in festive abundance to celebrate God's diversity. A diversity that is God's prerogative, not ours, and thus one in which we can all be proud. Proud of our God. Proud of our God for painting with every color of the rainbow. Proud of our God for making each of us and those we love. Proud of our celebratory bits and proud of the bits we'd rather not talk about. Proud of our humanity. Each created in the image of God, each a creation in which God is proud, that God calls good, that names beloved, and that God and God alone adores from everlasting to everlasting. In the solo we heard from Matt just before this sermon, we heard the longings of yesterday. In writing about that first Thanksgiving feast in pandemic, Matt reminds us of what that year cost us. We don't hang out like we did in 2019, he writes. And pride is like this too. Pride contains the loss of old ways of being, of old shoes that didn't fit but that we really liked and really hoped would stick around. Pride contains the hope of new ways that are still on the horizon and that we can't see, and maybe we have to let somebody else hold on to that hope for us. Matt's holiday tune is certainly about Thanksgiving, but there's a lot in it that sounds like Pride Sunday to me. By taking stock of the letting go of the things we thought we knew and loved, the traditions, the taken for grantedness, the ease of this is how it's always been, and by creating a space of longing and grief, of hope, and of love. Matt's anthem is one that goes to the very heart of the struggle of pride. Remember how I said pride is a complex emotion, that it requires cultivation and ongoing care, that we have to get our hands in the dirt? Part of this is because pride must endure slings and arrows, slurs and awful legislation, hatred and bullying, loss of family, loss of friends, loss of church, sometimes for teenagers, the loss of home or stability, the loss of health and the loss of loved ones. And all of that loss is a part of pride too. I dare say it's what actually makes pride pride. For pride is about the fullness of who we are. It's all of our past and all of our current and all of what tomorrow will be. Pride looks life straight in the eye, and it says, even yet, I am proud. Even yet, I know who God created me to be. Even yet, I will throw glitter on the graves of loss. And even yet, I will keep faith that it gets better. Even yet. This is what pride does, and it does so because pride is a divine right. It comes from God. We mirror it, and it goes right back to God. Pride is not just what we do, it's what God does, and it's available to all of us. Those are God's rules. I do not make them. Just as I cannot make a rainbow, just as I cannot do any of the myriad of miracles that God does on a daily basis, what I can do, what all of us can do on this Pride Sunday and indeed on any other day of the year, is I can wear these hideous earrings. I can fly flags that have far too many colors going on them, and I personally just don't understand, but there they are. We can dance in the street. We can fling glitter on each other that will take weeks to decommission. What we can do is to celebrate. We can sing. We can join with their choir on this, their final Sunday with us before they break for the summer. Choir, what a year you have had. How proud we are of you. I hope you are too. We can pray. We can accept one another for who they are, not whom we wish they would be. We can go watch those old films that we know by heart that give us life. We can see new plays that promise new life. And together we can find the pride that each of us has. Back to my friend and his love of steel magnolias, laughter through tears is my favorite emotion. And that right there is the essence of pride. The joy of pride, the fun of pride, the longing and the pain and the loss of pride, the laughter through tears. Pride. Pride Sunday, one glorious day for motorcycling chicks, gym boys, political queers, twinks, bears, daddies, queens, kings, whatever. And again, I attest to being an old gay man who does not make the rules and happily does not have to keep the lexicon of who is what or what we're calling whom. Pride is a lifetime engagement. It joins hands with the Almighty and it says, thank you. It says, thank you for making me exactly who I am. Did you know that? Did you know that pride is a prayer? It is. It's a prayer of gratitude. It accepts who you are, made in the image of Almighty God, and says, thank you, for I am fiercely and wonderfully made, and no one can take that away. Pride is an effort to really, really mean it, to radically welcome, to be and to belong. And these are gifts for all of us. They're even better than that. They're gifts for each of us. Pride, a prayer of gratitude. Amen.